So I take that like with a grain of salt that, when I take care of Pops, and I take care of your children too, but, I feel that he deserves what I give him because he never had it.
Mm.
I shouldn't say never, but he's had a very, I
Hard
think,
life.
a hard life. Yeah, he's had a hard life growing up, and he deserves happiness, and he deserves his wealth and his health and everything that he has. He just got a new car, and we have our home that we just purchased like when we were, I think maybe around 65, our first house.
Yeah.
And so that shows you don't ever give up on anything that, you feel that you want. You have to work for it and appreciate. So we appreciate the house that we have,
Yeah.
and the kids and the grandkids and the great grandkids. And we just appreciate, Pops and I appreciate everything that we have. So, um, yeah, so this is where we are right now in the
Hmm.
house with a little pool out in the back, and
That's nice.
Theo, our dog.
That's good. Um, what street did you live on in Oakland with your parents?
3303 Market Street in Oakland.
23?
23.
23.
23.
And what did you love about Oakland so much? Your neighborhood and how everything was around there.
Well, during those times, when back way back when, um, the neighbors, the kids, all the kids, we'd all play outside on the street, and we'd play kickball. We'd go over each other's house. We'd cross the street and go to the school, which was Hoover Junior High School. We'd go there and play ball, and it'd be getting dark, and no big thing about us being out at night, and we'd sleep over each other. Well, that's one thing my dad kind of made us not do, is to stay over someone's house. He said, when it gets nighttime, you stay in your own bed. You don't need to go over anybody's house and
Why
spend the
was
night.
that? Do you know?
I don't know, his because I had a girlfriend named Snooky who was next door. Excuse me, who was my best friend, and but I couldn't stay over her house because he thought that when it's nighttime, you should be in your own bed. Yeah, so I never spent the night over her house. But across the street again was the YMCA, and the neighbors and the children, and it was just safe. Everything was safe.
Mm.
You weren't threatened by the police or your neighbors or anybody. Everything
Mhm.
was really nice and calm and happy and
Mhm.
peaceful. Yeah, I had a really, really good
Upbringing.
childhood
Yeah.
upbringing. Yeah, with my brothers, my sisters, and my mom and dad, and it was just nice, very peaceful.
Mhm. And so you came from a background of being Creole, right? I mean your family, your father's side. Well, and
And
your
yeah,
mom's side.
from Louisiana,
Yeah.
yes.
So when you were in Oakland, um did you see did you see any difference of people treating you different because you were Creole?
No, no, my friends were Japanese, Margie Hirota and Ann Lum, and the Martinez family, Latins and
Mm-hmm.
blacks and whites, and I didn't know anything about race.
Mm.
There was, it didn't matter. We're all friends.
Because there was so much different ethnicities that were
Hmm.
around your neighborhood.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm. What was the in your household? What kind of music at that time in Oakland was? What records did you play, and what did you hear on the radio?
Yeah, that you would have to ask Daddy because I don't know. I used to play the little 45s. You stack them, and the record players, the records.
Hmm.
I'd stack them, which you're not supposed to do that. You're only
Oh
supposed to
yeah,
play one at a time, or you scratch it.
yeah.
But we used to stack them, and I can't tell you who I was listening to. That was in the 50s.
You don't
So
remember like any bands or certain musicians that you liked or?
no, because I wasn't into all of that. Just listening to the music. The first nightclub I ever went to is with Daddy after I don't know if we were married or we just got married, but it was in San Francisco, and Bill Williams, that I think his name was, he was a singer,
Mhm.
and Daddy took me to a nightclub in San Francisco. I don't know if we were married or not. I can't remember, but I remember sitting down and looking up, and he was singing. We were right in the front,
Mhm.
and that was the first nightclub I ever went to. Yeah. So I was either 19 or 20, I guess, or
Wow.
21. Yeah. And then the music, Daddy always did like Latin jazz, and he loved jazz singers. He loves the Rack Pack and
Yeah.
Sammy Davis and Frank Sinatra and all of them, Dean Martin and all that. So, because I was never out, I never went out. Daddy was the only man that ever went with, the
What?
only boy.
You married the first man or boy that you met. That is
Well, not
unheard of nowadays.
yeah, not that I met. I mean, I met
Yeah.
other kids, the guys in school and stuff, and but Daddy was the only one that I ever went out with because I could go out. I was only like 17 or 18. I think I met him when I was 17 and he was 19. So we got married when I was
19
19
and he
and
was
he was
20.
21. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I never went out because my dad wouldn't let us go out. We were too young, but I wasn't young enough to get married. Um,
Oh, you weren't. Well,
yeah, that's crazy. But
what did your parents think about Pops? Because
oh, not too good.
because he didn't have any money, like
No, he didn't.
none.
Yeah, and they knew that he was a musician
And at that time, that's not a real job,
for
right?
real. Yeah,
You said for real.
yeah. I mean, I mean, his parents, his mom didn't like. I didn't think that he was a musician either because they didn't feel that there was any money,
Hmm.
to be made in that. And Daddy always wanted to be a musician, so I worked after we got married and stuff. I worked as a secretary. I worked at the Borden's ice cream, making ice cream. I worked at the cheese factory and stuff, just enough to keep Daddy into the music so that he'd be able to
Wow,
stay
that's
making
crazy.
his music and not having to get a real job, which he tried a couple of times. He worked at a gas station for about 2 days, and he put on this lady's tires. He said, and he didn't tighten it up, and the lady came back, and I don't know if she got in a wreck or a tire came out or came off. So his boss, whoever he was working for, fired him, and then he worked at Del Monte's
Cannery.
cannery.
And then he
Yeah,
got fired from that,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Because he was sleeping on the job or whatever. He slept a lot. He's Mexican. He slept a lot.
I didn't say that. My mother
No,
said that.
just kidding. But he didn't. He wasn't a worker. He wasn't a laborer. He loved music
Hmm.
from the day I met him. He was always into music, and he still is.
Yeah,
And it's a blessing that he's been able to do what he loves in life.
yeah.
A lot of people are not able to do that. And
Do you feel because you were financially supporting the entire family pretty much, do you look at yourself that you were like the backbone of the family, or that didn't even really come into your mind because you just did what you had to do
yeah,
and it was just part of raising your family?
right.
So
Ditto,
you didn't
yes.
probably think nothing of it.
No, excuse me. No, it's just that we needed money, and didn't seem to be able to keep a job. And I mean, the little that he did go out and
Yeah.
do, and I was never brainy, so I wasn't doing a lot of things that took a lot of brains, but I was fast with my hands. So I did catering, I packed cheese, I packed ice cream and stuff. So I'm very fast with my hands.
Hmm.
And there was a lot of jobs back then um, that I was able to do, and I didn't mind doing them. And I was making good money because I was in the Teamsters Union. So if Daddy worked, he would only get maybe $25, maybe 50. That was kind of rare. Um, so we just did what we had to do, and it
Hmm.
was fine. And we were on food stamps, we were on
Wow.
blue chip, uh, we were on welfare. Um,
This is, but this is why you were working. You could get that also, or no?
no, well, whenever I worked those jobs, they were all seasonal. I would work maybe 4 months out of the year, and
Oh,
then I'd draw unemployment, and that would help us. And then Daddy would work a little bit, and so that helped.
and what were you feeding your children at that time that you couldn't afford anything? Like, were you just making stuff, you know,
Spaghetti, beans, rice. I mean, whatever
like
we could.
survival food, I guess?
Yeah, whatever we could buy.
Wow.
Yeah, it was not easy. It was very hard, but I think you guys, talking to you every once in a while, you would say you didn't know that we were struggling.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah. Um, but I think maybe we were probably borrowing money from my mom
Mm.
or somebody to maybe get food sometimes. And I would go and get boxes of food at this warehouse. I can't remember where it was, but they would give canned goods and cheese and bread and different things like that.
Mm.
But
So
yeah.
someone told me, and I'm not going to say who it is, but somebody told me in the family, and I don't know if this is true. So you tell me if this is true, that because you weren't, I mean, because Pops wasn't making a lot of money, and then you had a job and you were financially supporting your whole household, was that so you would go to the key club? What is it?
Oh, the card room,
The
the
card
key
room
room.
in
Yeah.
Emeryville. So
Hmm.
it was a card room. So
It's legal. It's legal gambling in Emeryville, which
yeah,
is Emeryville is between Oakland and Berkeley.
yeah.
Hmm.
But what I heard was you would go to the card room because you wouldn't we didn't have a lot of money, is that they would spot you money,
Yeah.
and so because they knew that you were going to win. So
No, no, they just spot you because they needed. Sometimes the tables are you're supposed to play with like 8 people and maybe six, but anything less than five or so, they needed more people to play at the table. So if I was there, they would spot me, so they'd put up the money for me to play. But I'm not the only one they did that to.
yeah, but
They
you're not they're,
spot.
but they're not going to give you money if you're a horrible player either. So you must have been really good.
Well, I held my own. I can't say that I was really good or really bad, but I just held my own. That's what they do. They spot you.
And so then when they gave you the money and then you won, you would split you would split the money with back to the house
Yeah,
because
but
they would
when you're
make money,
yeah,
right?
no, when you're playing cards, if say they gave me $50, so if I have $100 while I'm playing,
Mm-hmm.
then I would give them their 50 back, and I would play the 50. That's my own money. I
Yeah,
gave them their money back. But I mean, sometimes you lose too, so they don't get any money back.
right.
Yeah.
But you were
Pito told you all this. I know. It had to be him.
but but it was pretty much that you were just a good player because you're very competitive. I mean,
Yes, I'm competitive. Yeah. And
are
I
you?
like cards because my mom and dad, they had card games at the house when we were growing up, when we were little, my mother would have bingo at the house on Saturdays with just women,
Mm,
and we would put out the card tables in the front room. So it was maybe 12, 15 women.
mm-hmm,
And then on and then they'd trade houses every week.
mm,
So every I don't know, month or 2 months or whatever, we'd have another card game at the house. But then on Friday nights, my mom and dad would play poker,
mm.
and we'd have a poker table.
So that's how you learned how to play cards.
Yeah,
Do
my whole
you
family were gamblers, gamblers.
do you compete against your kids?
Heck yeah,
Do you bet money with your kids?
of course,
Do you win?
of course. But I don't win all the time.
But most of the time you do.
I don't know,
When you
maybe.
when you lose, are you a bad loser? Do you get mad?
That's a question I don't know. I try not to. I don't think so.
Do your eyebrows go up when you lose? Okay. Um, okay. So, oh, but you always, oh, so you wanted to, like you said, that you always wanted to get married and have children. Was there something that you were scared or hesitant about becoming a mother because of the fact that, how you guys grew up and, the things that you had to do? I mean, to make sure that you're financially ready and, cooking abilities and I mean all of that. Like, how did you feel about becoming a mother and a wife? Was there, any fear in it?
No.
None?
Mm-mm. I guess it was because the way I was brought up,
Mm.
because of it with my mom and dad and brothers and sisters. I thought it was just a piece of cake. We went to school. I never was in need, and I can't speak for my other brothers and sisters, but I was never in need of something
Mm-hmm.
like a pair of shoes or a hat, not a hat, but a sweater or a skirt, or I was never in need of anything. We had everything that we needed. We had food, a
Mm.
house.
All the important stuff.
Yeah, we were, so I just thought that's the way it is. You get married, you have children, your husband works, and uh, take care of the family. The wife, mother takes care of the family and the children.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was nothing to fear. If I saw fear at the house and things as I was growing up, I guess maybe I would, but there was nothing to fear.
Mm.
So, I was happy to have the kids and,
Yeah.
you know, so
And what
yeah,
were what were you, well, as musicians, I mean, because you're a musician's mother, so raising all these kids in the music industry.
musician's wife.
I mean, no, 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 not that part. I mean, raising musicians, I'm saying,
Oh,
as all
oh,
your children, were
mhm.
you, because you saw what, Pops went through, just, financially, and, that it was hard to get money and everything. Were you ever worried about your children being musicians and trying to earn a living that way? Did you want them to do something else?
um, well, that's kind of hard because after a while, Daddy was working, and then he worked with Santana and stuff, and we were kind of financially okay. So if they got into the music, I just felt that if they didn't have enough, maybe we could help them a little bit. And um, ooh, I just got a senior moment.
Well, you are a senior, moms.
I don't think I was afraid. No, I wasn't afraid of them being musicians. They seemed to love it, just like Daddy did. And we'd have a lot of instruments at the house, so the kids would just pick them up and play. They never had any lessons. None of the kids ever had any lessons, or
Mm-hmm.
they weren't taught anything, or they just were self-taught. Um, then they all had their own little bands, and
Mm-hmm.
they were happy. I didn't know that they were that was going to be their living though,
Mm.
but they never did anything else. But it never dawned on me that they would end up being musicians, I guess, as big as they are,
Yeah.
as large as they have become.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm happy. I mean, it's been a struggle. It's been still struggling sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm happy that they're happy that they're doing what they want to do, and you doing your things. You being a masseuse, you're very talented in everything and anything that you pick up and put your mind to. You're not a musician, but you're an artist in your own way. There's not too much that you can't do,
Mm-hmm.
and when you put your mind to it, that's you finish it and you do it. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just when you're here, I got to clean up behind you, and your dogs, all your dogs are here.
Well, that's what you're supposed to do,
Yes.
Mom. What is so it's just a couple more questions. Is what in each of the kids? What are you most proud of in each one of them?
Well, first of all, because they're believers in our Father, and that's the most important. I couldn't ask for, Pops and I couldn't ask for anything more than that. That is the number one and special thing that I love about all you kids is that, the way you think about the Lord, and you live by Him, and we speak of Him, and we speak to others about Him. Um, and you guys are, even though families are grown up in the same household, everybody is different. You guys are all different in your in
Mm-hmm.
your own ways, um, but you're all really, to us, almost perfect human beings, even though you have faults, and Pops and I have faults and all that. But it's just been a perfect marriage of you four children.
Mm.
And I don't have any favorites, and don't say you are, because you're not. So, yeah, I'm just proud of all of you guys, really,
Mm-hmm.
for the way you've been uh, projecting yourself to
Mm-hmm.
others, and that's important. And the way, you guys take it, not you, but Pito and Juan, taking care of their families and
Mm-hmm.
their wives, and you and Sheila, just who you guys are, very creative. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And the last question is, what are you most proud about yourself about um, in your life that you have done and accomplished?
I think, well, not think, it's being a wife and a mother.
Hmm.
That was short and sweet, right to the point.
Thank you. So this is Mom's Escovedo, and we are just sitting in their front room in their beautiful home, and raised us very well. And if we ever get out of hand, my mother will tell us, yes, we still get slapped and to the back of the head. I mean, just everything. She does not play. She's a very strong woman. So that's kind of, I think, where we get our strength from. I mean, we've always talked about it, but my mother has always really been our rock of the family that has kept all of us together. And, like she said, she doesn't know the power that she had of, being a wife and holding the household down, and then also raising four kids and having a husband that didn't hardly made any money, but they still stayed together as a family. And it's just incredible, the strength and the struggles that we've been through as a family. And so that's why I had to interview my mother as, a Bay legend, because she's a mother to a lot of people. I mean, if you ever walk up to her, she just, without even saying your name, she just goes and hugs you. She's an incredible woman, and I just, am honored and glad that she said yes, that she to do this interview, because she did not want to do
I
this
was gonna
interview.
say, because I don't do these, I don't like to do these, because I'm doing it because Zena asked me to, and any of my kids, if they would ask me. I've been asked through all these years to do interviews and to, but I just don't like doing them. I'll do them with Pops or I'll do them with my children, but um, separately, like one-on-one, this is this is not me.
But you did good.
Okay.
You did good.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye, you guys. Thank you. Thank
God
you.
bless you. Be safe. Keep your mask on. Keep your hands clean. Love you.
Bye.